The meeting room was carved from black stone. It sat deep inside the asteroid that housed the Galactic Assassins Guild. The room had seen many dangerous contracts over the years, but today was different. Today, the most feared killers in the galaxy were afraid. Guildmaster Vorthak looked at the blue light floating above the table. His 6 yellow eyes studied the information that made every assassin in the room nervous. The hologram showed simple words, but they carried a weight that made professional killers shake. Target name: Kim Dae-ho. Species: human last seen, Kepler Colony 442b. Payment: 50 million galactic credits. Risk level: extreme danger. The bounty had been posted 3 months ago. In that time, 50 assassins had taken the job. None came back, not one. Their ships vanished. Their equipment disappeared. Even their bodies were never found. Crystal was a gray alien with 4 arms and skin like metal. He had killed over 200 targets in his career. Today he threw his weapon on the table and stepped back. His voice was rough like grinding stone. I will not take this job. Humans are not normal. They do not die like other species should die. The other assassins nodded their heads. Fear was something they rarely felt, but this human had killed 50 of their best hunters. Each one had been an expert. Each one had special abilities. Each one had failed completely. In the corner of the room sat Hana. She was the only human in the guild. She was also their most successful killer with 847 confirmed deaths. Other assassins respected her but also feared her. She had proven that humans could be very good at killing. Hana watched her fellow assassins with interest. She found it strange that they were so scared of one human when she had been working with them for years. None of them ever asked her to hunt other humans. They seemed to understand something they could not put into words. Vorthak moved closer to the hologram. His long, snake-like body coiled around his chair. His voice was like steam escaping from metal. What makes this human different from others? Why do our best killers fail against him? The room became quiet. Everyone looked at each other, but no one had answers. They had studied the data many times. Each assassin who went after Kim Dae-ho had vanished in the same way. They would track him down. They would get close to killing him. Then all communication would stop. Search teams would find burned ground where battles had happened. They would find broken weapons and destroyed equipment. But they never found bodies. Not the assassin who had been sent. Not the human they were hunting. It was like both had simply disappeared from existence. Hana finally stood up from her chair. Her movement was smooth, but it made several assassins reach for their weapons without thinking. She was smaller than most of them, but her reputation made her dangerous. You are asking the wrong question, she said. Her voice was calm, but it cut through the fear in the room like a sharp knife. Vorthak turned all 6 eyes toward her. Then what is the right question? The question is not what makes Dae-ho special. The question is what you still do not understand about humans. She walked around the table. The other assassins watched her carefully. They had seen her work before. They knew how quickly she could kill. You hunt humans like we are just another species in the galaxy. You use the same methods you use on everyone else. You make the same plans. You think the same thoughts. Hana stopped and pointed at the hologram. But humans do not think like you do. We do not act like other species act. We are different in ways that you cannot understand. An assassin with blue skin and 3 heads spoke up. His name was Zorak and he could read minds. How are humans different? We have studied your species for many years. You have studied what we do, Hana replied, but you have never understood why we do it. You see humans as weak because we have no natural weapons. We cannot read minds or move through walls or survive in space without suits. She looked around the room at each alien face. Some had scales. Some had fur. Some had skin that changed colors. All of them had evolved special abilities that made them dangerous. But you forget the most important thing about humans. We do not need special abilities because we have something else. Something that makes us more dangerous than any natural weapon. What is that? Vorthak demanded. We adapt. When you hunt other species, they react the same way every time. They use their natural abilities. They follow their instincts. They are predictable. Hana moved back to the hologram and touched the image of Kim Dae-ho. It was a simple picture of a normal-looking human male. He had dark hair and ordinary features. Nothing about him looked dangerous. When you hunt a human, everything changes. We do not have instincts that control us. We do not have to use natural abilities because we do not have any. Instead, we learn, we watch. We study our enemies and we become something new. The room was completely silent now. Every assassin was listening carefully. 50 of you have died because you treated Daeho like a normal target. You planned to kill him the way you kill everyone else. But humans do not stay the same when they are hunted. We change. We become something our enemies do not expect. She looked directly at Vorthak. Every assassin who went after him taught him something new. How to fight psychic attacks. How to detect invisible enemies. How to destroy equipment he had never seen before. By the time the 50th hunter arrived, Daeho had learned 50 different ways to kill assassins. Krixtal made a sound like metal scraping against stone. You are saying he becomes stronger each time someone tries to kill him. I am saying something worse than that, Hana replied. I am saying that when you hunt a human, you are not the hunter anymore. The human knows you are coming. The human studies you while you study him. The human learns your weaknesses while you think you are learning his. She pointed at each alien in the room. Every single one of you has abilities that make you dangerous. But every ability has a weakness, and humans are very good at finding weaknesses. Vorthak's eyes narrowed. You speak as if you know this human personally. I do not know Daeho, but I know what he has become. He is no longer just a human trying to survive. He is a human who has been hunted by the best killers in the galaxy. He has learned from each of them. He has taken their knowledge and made it his own. The silence stretched on for long moments. Finally, Zorak spoke again. What are you saying we should do? Hana looked at the hologram one more time. Then she looked around the room at the most dangerous beings in known space, beings who were afraid of one human they had never met. I am saying that you should understand what you have created. You have spent 3 months teaching a human how to kill assassins. You have made him into something that knows all of your methods and all of your weaknesses. She moved toward the door but stopped before leaving. And I am saying that if you continue to send killers after him, he will continue to learn from them. Eventually he will learn enough to come here. The door closed behind her with a soft sound, but her words stayed in the room like a poison that would not go away. Vorthak looked at the bounty posting again. 50 million credits, more money than most beings would see in a lifetime. But suddenly it did not seem like enough payment for signing your own death warrant. The meeting ended without anyone taking the contract. For the first time in guild history, a bounty was refused by every assassin who saw it. Outside the meeting room, Hana walked down the corridor toward her ship. She had not told them everything. She had not told them that she recognized something in the data about Kim Daeho, something that made her think he was not just another human who had learned to survive. She thought he might be something much more dangerous than that. She thought he might be a human who had learned to hunt. 3 days after the meeting, Hana found herself alone in her ship flying toward Kepler Colony 442b. The guild had not sent her to kill Kim Daeho. They had sent her to find answers. She was the only assassin who might survive long enough to understand what was happening. Her ship was small and fast. It was painted black to blend with space. The guild had given her the best stealth technology they had. But as she traveled through the dark between stars, Hana wondered if it would be enough. She spent the long journey reading everything about Kim Daeho. His file made her feel cold inside. The man was not what anyone expected. Kim Daeho had been born on Earth 32 years ago. He had joined the Colonial Marines when he was 18. For 10 years he had been a good soldier. His commanders wrote reports saying he was brave and smart. He followed orders without question. He never caused trouble. Then came the Titan Station incident. Hana read the official report 3 times. It said that Titan Station had suffered an equipment failure. 47 Marines had died in the accident. Only Kim Daeho had survived. The report said he was lucky to be alive, but Hana had learned to read between the lines of official reports. There were too many missing details, too many questions that were not answered. The report felt like someone had removed important information on purpose. She found Daeho's medical records from after Titan Station. The doctors wrote strange things about him. They said he showed signs of extreme stress. They said he had trouble sleeping and would not talk about what happened. They said he had developed unusual abilities to survive in dangerous conditions. One doctor wrote that Daeho seemed to have learned things that were not taught in any military training. The doctor could not explain how he knew certain survival techniques. The doctor could not understand how he had survived injuries that should have killed him. The military had discharged Daeho 6 months after Titan Station. They said it was for medical reasons. They gave him money and told him to find a quiet place to live. They said he needed rest and peace, but Hana could see what really happened. The military had become afraid of what Daeho had become. They wanted him far away from other soldiers. They wanted him where he could not cause problems. After leaving the military, Daeho had disappeared for almost 2 years. There were no records of where he went or what he did. It was like he had simply stopped existing. Then 6 months ago, he had appeared on Kepler Colony 442b. He had bought a small piece of land in the worst part of the planet. The land was far from the main settlement. It was rocky and dry. Nothing useful could be grown there. Most people thought he was crazy for choosing such a terrible place. The local people remembered him as quiet and polite. He would come to town once a month to buy supplies. He always paid with real money instead of credit. He never stayed longer than necessary. He never talked about his past or his plans. Then the assassins started coming. Hana read the reports about each failed attempt. The first killer had been Zorak the Mind Flayer. He was a blue alien who could attack thoughts directly. He could make people go insane just by looking at them. His power was so strong that most victims died within seconds. Zorak's ship had been found crashed in a deep canyon. The cockpit was filled with his own vomit. Medical scans showed that his brain had been damaged by extreme terror. The doctor said something had frightened him so badly that his own psychic powers had turned against him. The second attempt had been made by a team of shadow dancers. They were aliens who could move through walls and become invisible. They could appear anywhere without warning. They had never failed to kill a target before. Parts of their bodies were found scattered across 30 kilometers of desert. Each piece showed signs of being hit by weapons that should not exist on a frontier planet. The weapons had torn them apart at the molecular level. By the time the 20th assassin had failed, a pattern became clear. Daeho was not just killing his attackers. He was learning from them. Each new assassin faced defenses that were designed specifically for their abilities. The psychic killers found their powers turned back against them. The invisible assassins were detected before they could attack. The poisoners discovered that their toxins had no effect. The technology specialists found their equipment had been sabotaged before they even arrived. Hana studied the most recent failure. An assassin called Silex had taken the contract 2 weeks ago. Silex was part machine and part organic creature. His computer brain could predict the future by calculating millions of possibilities every second. Silex had gotten closer than anyone else. His ship's sensors had tracked Daeho to within 50 meters of his home. The assassin had been preparing for the final approach when his signal had suddenly stopped. The last transmission from Silex's equipment was audio only. A human voice speaking calmly said, "I was wondering when they would send someone with real skill. Come inside. We should talk, then nothing." Silex's ship was found empty. His body was never recovered. But inside the ship, someone had left a message written on the wall in alien script. It said, "He knew I was coming before I knew it myself." As Hana's ship approached Kepler 442b, she realized something that made her hands shake. Kim Daeho was not just surviving assassination attempts. He was studying them. He was learning how the best killers in the galaxy operated. He was building knowledge about alien abilities and alien weaknesses. Each assassin who tried to kill him had become his teacher. Each failure had made him stronger and smarter. After 50 attempts, he had learned 50 different ways to detect, track, and eliminate professional killers. Hana began to understand why the guild was so frightened. They had not just failed to kill one human. They had accidentally created something much more dangerous. They had created a human who knew everything about how assassins worked. She set her ship down on the planet 5 kilometers from Daeho's last known location. As she checked her weapons and equipment, she wondered if she was making the same mistake as the 50 assassins before her. But she had one advantage they did not have. She was human too. She understood how human minds worked. She knew that Daeho would be expecting her. The question was whether that knowledge would help her survive or simply make her death more interesting. Hana stepped out of her ship and looked toward the rocky hills where Kim Daeho was waiting. For the first time in her career as an assassin, she was not sure if she was the hunter or the prey. She began walking toward what might be her own death. But she was also walking toward answers that the galaxy needed to understand. Behind her, the ship's communication system recorded her final transmission to the guild. "I have arrived at the target location. Beginning investigation. If you do not hear from me within 24 hours, assume that I have learned why 50 assassins could not kill one human." The message ended, and Hana disappeared into the wilderness where the galaxy's most dangerous human was waiting for her arrival. Hana walked through the rocky desert for 2 hours before she found Kim Dae-ho's home. It was built into the side of a cliff face. The entrance was hidden so well that she almost walked past it. From the air, it would be completely invisible. She approached carefully with her weapon ready, but there were no traps, no warning systems, no defenses of any kind. The front door stood wide open like an invitation. Hana stepped inside and stopped breathing. The walls were covered with weapons and equipment from the 50 assassins who had tried to kill Dae-ho. Each item was carefully placed and labeled. She could see Zorak's mind control device. There was a shadow dancer's phase shifter. Over there hung the quantum blade of a Korthek warrior. Each display showed the name of the assassin, their species, their special abilities, and the date they had died. It was like walking through a museum of death. At the center of the room sat a simple wooden table with 2 chairs and a pot of coffee. Kim Dae-ho looked nothing like the monster she had expected. He was average height with ordinary brown hair and normal human features. He wore simple work clothes stained with dirt from mining. He could have been any colonist trying to make a living on a frontier world, but his eyes were different. They held the weight of someone who had seen too much death and survived things that should have killed him many times over. "You are Hana," he said in a calm voice. He poured coffee into 2 cups. "The guild's pet human, 847 confirmed kills." 51 if you count the ones who came after you, Hana replied. She did not move closer to the table. "I did not kill them all." Dae-ho pointed to a section of the wall. 7 took their own lives rather than face capture. 12 died when their own equipment turned against them. The rest made choices that led to their deaths. Hana studied the collection of alien weapons. The equipment represented millions of credits worth of assassination tools. Some of the technology was so advanced that most beings had never seen anything like it. "You have been busy," she said. "They kept coming. I kept learning." Dae-ho sat down and drank his coffee slowly. "Do you know why I am here on this planet instead of somewhere with other people? You are running from something, from someone. A human. Someone." His voice carried no emotion, but Hana could hear the weight behind his words. The Titan Station incident was not an accident. It was a test. Hana felt cold. What kind of test? Earth's military wanted to see what would happen when you put humans in impossible situations with no support and no way out. They wanted to study human adaptability under extreme stress. They wanted to see how we would evolve when we had to survive or die. Dae-ho stood and walked to one of his weapon displays. They put 47 Marines on Titan Station and then created a disaster. They watched us fight impossible odds. They recorded how we changed under pressure. They studied how we became something new. And you were the only survivor. I was the only one who became what they wanted to create. The others died fighting. I survived by learning. I adapted. I became something that could not be killed by normal means." Hana looked around the room again. Now she understood what she was seeing. This was not just a collection of trophies. It was a library. Dae-ho had not just killed these assassins. He had studied them. He had learned their techniques. He had absorbed their knowledge. "The military became afraid of what you had become," she said. "They tried to eliminate me quietly. Officially, I died in a transport accident. Unofficially, I have been running for 3 years." Dae-ho looked directly at her. "Until I realized something important. I was still thinking like prey. But humans are not prey. No, we are not. The bounty on my head is not random. Someone on Earth wants me dead. They are using alien assassins to do their dirty work. It keeps their hands clean." He smiled, and for the first time Hana understood why 50 of the galaxy's most dangerous killers had failed. "What are you planning?" "I am going to show the galaxy why humans do not make good prey, starting with whoever has been sending these assassins." Dae-ho moved to another display. "But I cannot do it alone. I need someone who understands both sides of this war." Hana realized what he was asking. "You want me to help you?" I want us to hunt them together. You know every criminal organization in known space. You have contacts they cannot imagine. You have skills they cannot counter." He gestured to the alien weapons around them. "And now I have knowledge about alien abilities that no human has ever possessed. The Guild will never sanction this. The Guild does not need to know. This is personal business." His smile became cold. "Besides, once we are finished, there will be no one left to pay their fees." Hana thought about everything she had learned. The failed assassinations, the fear in the Guild, the weapons and knowledge that surrounded her. Kim Dae-ho had become something unique in the galaxy. He was a human who had learned to think like 50 different species of predator. "What makes you think we can succeed where 50 professional killers failed? Because they were trying to kill me. We are going to be killing people who think they are safe behind government protection and military security. People who have never faced the thing they created." Dae-ho extended his hand toward her. "The question is simple. Are you willing to show the galaxy what happens when humans stop being prey and start being predators?" Hana looked at his hand. She thought about the Guild's fear. She thought about the 50 failed assassinations. She thought about what the Earth military had done to create this man. Then she thought about what they could accomplish together. A human who had absorbed the knowledge of the galaxy's best killers, and a human who knew how to use that knowledge in the criminal underworld. She took his hand and shook it firmly. "Let us go hunting," she said. In that moment, the people who had tried to have Kim Dae-ho killed made their biggest mistake. They had created two humans who understood alien weaknesses better than any beings in the galaxy. And now those two humans were working together. 2 weeks later, Hana sat in Dae-ho's hidden base looking at information that changed everything she thought she knew about the bounty on his head. The data he had collected from 50 dead assassins told a story that made her angry and afraid at the same time. The bounty had not been posted by alien criminals or enemy governments. It had not come from anyone who wanted revenge for something Dae-ho had done. The money was coming from Earth, from humans, from the same people who were supposed to protect human colonies. "Director Park Sung-min," Dae-ho said, showing her a holographic file. "Head of the Earth Colonial Administration's Special Projects Division. The same man who authorized the Titan Station experiments." Hana studied the information. Park had been using alien assassins to eliminate humans who knew too much about secret military programs. He had been paying the Galactic Assassins Guild to kill his own people. The Guild had become his personal cleanup crew without knowing it. There were others besides you. 17 different programs over 8 years. Enhanced soldiers, psychic warfare specialists, biological adaptation subjects. Anyone who survived their tests became a problem that needed to be solved. Dae-ho's face showed no emotion, but his voice was filled with cold anger. The files showed dozens of humans who had been killed by alien assassins over the past 5 years. Each one had been a survivor of some kind of military experiment. Each one had developed abilities that made Earth's government nervous. Each one had been eliminated quietly using alien killers. "Why are you telling me this?" Hana asked. "Why not just disappear again?" "Because they will never stop hunting people like me. And because you are the only other human who might understand what needs to happen next." Dae-ho brought up another display showing shipping records and personnel files. "Park is not working alone. There is a whole network of officials, military contractors, and colonial administrators involved in this. You want to expose them. I want to eliminate them. All of them." His voice carried the certainty of someone who had already decided what must be done, but not with violence and destruction. "I want to do something that will terrify them more than any assassin ever could." "Which is what?" "I want to turn the galaxy's most effective killer into their worst nightmare." He looked directly at her. "You know every major criminal organization, every black market dealer, every information broker in known space. You have contacts they cannot imagine and skills they cannot predict." Hana began to understand his plan. "You want me to hunt them? I want us to hunt them together, using methods they will never see coming." Dae-ho showed her a tactical display of Earth's colonial territories. "They use aliens to kill humans. We will use humans to destroy their entire operation from the inside. How do we start? We start by showing them that their alien assassins cannot protect them from human hunters." He smiled grimly. Park thinks he is safe on Luna Station surrounded by alien bodyguards and advanced security systems. He thinks that human killers cannot reach him. And you plan to prove him wrong. We plan to prove him wrong. Together. Deho activated another display showing the layout of Luna Station. I have been studying this place for months. I know every security system, every guard rotation, every weakness in their defenses. Hana looked at the station schematics. Luna Station was supposed to be one of the most secure facilities in human space. It had energy shields, quantum encrypted communications, and guards from 6 different alien species. Breaking in should have been impossible. What about the alien guards? What about them? Deho pointed to his collection of alien weapons and equipment. I have learned how to fight Vrexian warriors, Korthek shadow dancers, hegemony psychics, and 30 other species. Their guards are using the same tactics as the assassins who tried to kill me. But this is different. This is not just survival. This is offense. Yes, it is. And that is what will make it work. Deho's eyes showed the same cold determination that had kept him alive against 50 assassins. They have never faced humans who attack instead of defend. They have never fought humans who know their weaknesses better than they know them themselves. Hana thought about everything she had learned. Park and his network had been using alien killers to eliminate humans for years. They thought they were safe because no human had ever tried to fight back. They had forgotten something important about her species. Humans were very good at learning from their enemies. And they were even better at turning that knowledge into weapons. When do we start? She asked. We start tonight. Park is going to receive a message that will let him know his protection is not as good as he thinks. Deho activated a communication system. By tomorrow morning, he will understand that the humans he tried to kill are now hunting him. What kind of message? The kind that will make him realize he has made the biggest mistake of his life. Deho began typing on an alien keyboard. He created hunters and then tried to have them eliminated by prey. Now he is going to learn why that was a very bad idea. Hana watched him work and realized that Director Park and his network had no idea what was coming for them. They had spent years teaching humans how to fight alien assassins. Now 2 of those humans were about to show them exactly what they had learned. The hunt was about to begin. 6 weeks later, Director Park Sung-min woke up in his secure office on Luna Station to find something that made his blood turn to ice. On his desk sat a neural blade that belonged to Krixtal, the Vrexian assassin who had refused the bounty on Kim Deho. Next to the blade was a handwritten note. We could have killed you 12 different ways while you slept. This is a professional courtesy. You have 48 hours to transfer 100 million credits to the specified account and disappear. Refuse and discover why the galaxy's assassins fear humans. Signed H&D. Park activated every security protocol Luna Station had. Within 1 hour, the facility was locked down tighter than a military fortress. Armed guards patrolled every corridor. Sensors monitored every room. AI systems watched for any sign of intrusion. It did not matter. The next morning, Park's chief of security was found in his quarters. The man was alive, but his mind had been broken. He sat on his bed rocking back and forth and whispering about humans who moved like ghosts and knew things they should not know. Beside him were detailed files about every illegal operation Park had authorized. The files included evidence of the human experimentation programs and the names of 18 test subjects who had been murdered by alien assassins. The security recordings showed nothing. No intruders, no breaches, no signs that anyone had entered the station. The files had simply appeared as if created by invisible hands. By noon, similar packages had been delivered to 16 other Earth Colonial Administration officials across 3 different star systems. Each package contained evidence of their crimes and the same 48-hour warning. Several officials immediately transferred the requested money and fled to the Outer Rim territories. Park decided to fight back. He hired the hegemony's most elite military contractors. He surrounded himself with quantum-shielded bunkers. He placed a counter-bounty on both Kim Deho and Hana worth 200 million credits. That was his second mistake. His first mistake had been trying to have Deho killed in the first place. On the 47th hour, something happened that Park had not expected. Every communication system on Luna Station received an encrypted message that bypassed all security systems. The message was being broadcast to every major news network, government channel, and information broker in human space. The voice was female, calm, and professional. Citizens of the Earth Colonial Administration, you deserve to know what your leaders have been doing in your name. What followed was a complete exposé of the human experimentation programs. The broadcast included classified documents, recorded conversations, and testimony from surviving test subjects. The evidence was overwhelming and impossible to deny. Park watched in horror as his secret operations were revealed to the entire galaxy. But the most frightening part came at the end when a male voice joined the transmission. Director Park and his associates have spent years proving that humans can be turned into weapons. Today we are proving that weapons can choose their own targets. This is what happens when you create predators and then try to eliminate them with prey. The broadcast ended with a simple statement that made Park's hands shake. Justice will be served. Resistance is useless. We are coming. Park realized that his 48 hours were over. He also realized that the two most dangerous humans in the galaxy were no longer hiding from him. They were hunting him. The war lasted exactly 9 days. But it was not fought with armies or fleets. It was fought with precision, intelligence, and the kind of ruthless efficiency that had made humans the most feared species in the galaxy's criminal underworld. On the first day, 3 Earth Colonial Administration facilities suffered mysterious accidents that destroyed decades of research while leaving the personnel alive, but terrified. Security cameras recorded impossible infiltrations by figures who moved like shadows and struck like lightning. On the third day, the Galactic Assassins Guild received an encrypted message. It contained the names and locations of every ECA official involved in the conspiracy. The message included evidence of their crimes and came with a simple warning. Refuse any future contracts against human test subjects or face the consequences. Guildmaster Vorthak studied the evidence and the fate of the 50 assassins who had tried to kill Deho. He issued an immediate directive to all guild members. Any contract targeting humans would be automatically rejected. The species was to be considered professionally hazardous. On the 5th day, Park's military contractors began abandoning their posts. They found their personal information, family addresses, and detailed plans for their elimination left in their quarters. The psychological warfare was devastating. They were facing enemies who could reach them anywhere at any time without warning. On the 7th day, the remaining ECA conspirators attempted a coordinated strike against several human colonies. They hoped to draw their hunters into the open. Instead, they discovered that Hana and Daiho had anticipated this move. The conspirators' own assets were turned against them. 3 assassination teams were eliminated by their own equipment. 2 more surrendered rather than face capture. On the 9th day, it ended. Park was found in his office, alive and unharmed, sitting behind his desk with a full confession already written and signed. Beside him sat a cup of coffee that was still warm and a final note. Your crimes are now public record. Your victims have justice. Your network is destroyed. You will spend the rest of your life in prison, knowing that you created the weapons that brought you down. Consider this mercy, the humans you tried to kill. The war lasted exactly 9 days. It wasn't fought with fleets or armies, but with precision, intelligence, and the kind of ruthless efficiency that had made humans the most feared species in the galaxy's underworld. Hana and Deho didn't just hunt their targets. They systematically dismantled the entire network that had enabled the human experimentation programs. On day 1, 3 ECA facilities suffered simultaneous accidents that destroyed decades of research while leaving their personnel alive but terrified. Security footage showed impossible infiltrations by figures who moved like shadows and struck like lightning. On day 3, the Galactic Assassins Guild received an encrypted message containing the names and locations of every ECA official involved in the conspiracy, along with evidence of their crimes. The message came with an ultimatum. Refuse any future contracts against human test subjects, or face the consequences. Guildmaster Vorthak, after reviewing the evidence and the fate of the 50 assassins who had tried to kill Deho, issued an immediate guild-wide directive. Any contract targeting humans would be automatically rejected. The species was to be considered professionally hazardous. On day 5, Park's military contractors began abandoning their posts after finding their personal information, family addresses, and detailed assassination plans left in their quarters. The psychological warfare was devastating. They were facing enemies who could reach them anywhere, anytime without warning. On day 7, the remaining ECA conspirators attempted a coordinated strike against several human colonies. hoping to draw their hunters into the open. Instead, they discovered that Hana and Daeho had anticipated this move and turned their own assets against them. 3 assassination teams were eliminated by their own equipment, while 2 more surrendered rather than face capture. On day 9, it ended. Park was found in his office, alive and unharmed, sitting behind his desk with a full confession already written and signed. Beside him sat a cup of coffee, still warm, and a note. "Your crimes are now public record. Your victims have justice. Your network is destroyed. You will spend the rest of your life in prison, knowing that you created the very weapons that brought you down. Consider this mercy, the humans you tried to kill." The fallout was immediate and devastating. The Earth Colonial Administration's upper ranks were gutted by arrests and resignations. The human experimentation programs were exposed to public outrage and permanently shut down. Families of test subjects received compensation and official apologies. And across the galaxy, a new understanding took hold. Humans were not just another species to be cataloged and contained. They were apex predators who had been playing by civilized rules out of choice, not necessity. When those rules no longer protected them, they became something that even the galaxy's most feared killers couldn't handle. The bounty on Kim Dae-ho was quietly withdrawn. No explanation was given, but none was needed. The Galactic Assassins Guild had learned what Earth's military had discovered too late. To hunt a human was to sign your own death warrant. Hana returned to Earth, where she was quietly recruited by colonial intelligence to help hunt down the remaining conspirators. Her official record still showed 847 confirmed kills, but those who knew better understood that the number was now much higher and far more significant. Daeho disappeared again, but not to hide. Intelligence reports suggested he was actively hunting other survivors of the experimentation programs, not to eliminate them, but to recruit them. Somewhere in the Outer Rim territories, the galaxy's most dangerous humans were gathering, preparing for whatever came next. And in the deepest vaults of the Galactic Assassins Guild, a new entry was added to their most classified database. Species: human, Homo sapiens. Threat level: extinction. Class: hunting. Status: permanently prohibited notes. They don't just kill their enemies. They make their enemies kill themselves. Recommend immediate withdrawal from any contract involving this species. Guild survival depends on avoiding all contact with human targets. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Even elite assassins turned away when the target was human. Some prey, it turned out, were actually predators in disguise. 1 year after the 9-Day War, the galaxy had become a very different place. The Galactic Assassins Guild had lost 40% of its membership. Many assassins had simply retired, rather than risk accidentally taking a contract that might involve humans. Others had changed careers entirely. The fear was that deep and that permanent. Guildmaster Vorthak had been replaced by a committee of 7 beings from different species. Their first official act was to create the Human Exclusion Protocol. Any being who posted a bounty against a human would be permanently banned from guild services. Any assassin who accepted such a contract would be expelled and marked for elimination. The protocol was not created from kindness. It was created from pure survival instinct. On Earth, the political changes were just as dramatic. The entire Earth Colonial Administration had been restructured. New oversight committees made sure that no secret experimentation would ever happen again. The families of test subjects had become powerful voices in government, making sure their loved ones had not died for nothing. But the most important changes were happening in places most beings never saw. In hidden bases across the Outer Rim territories, Kim Dae-ho had gathered 23 other survivors of the human experimentation programs. Each one had developed unique abilities through their ordeal. Each one had been hunted by alien assassins. Each one had learned to survive by becoming something more than human. Together, they formed something that had never existed before in the galaxy. A group of humans who understood alien weaknesses better than the aliens understood them themselves. They called themselves the Adapted. Their mission was simple: protect human colonies from threats that normal military forces could not handle, hunt down the remaining conspirators who had escaped justice, and make sure that no alien species ever again thought humans were easy prey. Hana had become their unofficial leader on the civilized side of the galaxy. Her position in colonial intelligence gave her access to information about potential threats. Her reputation in the criminal underworld gave her contacts that no government agency could match. When alien pirates attacked human ships, the Adapted would respond. When criminal organizations tried to establish operations in human space, they would find their leaders dead and their operations destroyed. When hostile governments made threats against human colonies, their ambassadors would receive visits from beings they could not identify or stop. The galaxy quickly learned that humans were no longer content to simply defend themselves. They had become proactive about eliminating threats before those threats could grow dangerous. Most species adapted to this new reality peacefully. They had seen what happened to the Earth Colonial Administration conspirators. They had heard about the 50 dead assassins. They understood that humans were not to be threatened lightly, but some species were slow to learn. The Hegemony Council decided to test human resolve by attacking a small mining colony on the edge of human space. They sent a fleet of 12 warships against a world that had no military defenses. The attack lasted 6 hours. When it was over, 11 Hegemony ships had been destroyed and 1 had been captured. The crew of the captured ship reported that their attackers had somehow known every detail of Hegemony military tactics. They had countered every strategy before it could be implemented. Investigation revealed that the defenders had been a single ship crewed by 4 humans. 4 humans who had somehow defeated a Hegemony fleet using weapons and tactics that should not have existed. The Hegemony Council issued a formal apology and paid massive reparations to the mining colony. They also issued secret orders to all Hegemony military units. Human space was to be considered permanently off limits. Similar incidents happened with the Vrexian Empire, the Korthek Confederacy, and 6 other major powers. Each time the results were the same. Human defenders who seemed to know exactly how alien military forces operated. Alien fleets that were defeated by tactics they could not understand or counter. The galaxy's military commanders began to realize something that terrified them. Humans had not just learned to fight alien assassins. They had learned to fight alien military forces. Every species that had ever sent killers after human test subjects had accidentally taught humans how to defeat their own armies. Within 2 years, human space had become the most peaceful region in the galaxy. Not because humans were weak, but because everyone understood they were too dangerous to attack. Trade with human colonies increased by 300%. Alien tourists flocked to human worlds to experience the culture of the galaxy's apex predators. Human mercenaries became the most sought-after soldiers in known space. But the most important change was in how humans saw themselves. They were no longer a young species trying to find their place among older civilizations. They were the civilization that other species looked to for protection. They were the predators that kept the peace by being too dangerous to challenge. Kim Dae-ho had achieved something remarkable. He had turned humanity's greatest weakness into their greatest strength. The same adaptability that had made humans vulnerable to experimentation had made them unstoppable as hunters. The galaxy had learned the most important lesson about humans. They were not just survivors. They were teachers who learned from everyone who tried to kill them. And in a universe full of dangerous beings, the best teachers were the ones who turned their students into their own worst enemies. The age of humans being prey was over. The age of humans being apex predators had begun, and everyone in the galaxy knew it.